Hi, this is Aaron for BandLab, and in this video we're going to make a Polo G style beat in BandLab's free online DAW. You can open this project yourself with the link in the video description, and if you find this guide useful, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos drop. I begin by setting the project tempo to 176 BPM and the project key to D sharp minor. That way any musical loops I add from BandLab's sample library will automatically be repitched to the correct key. I'm going to base this project around a guitar riff, so I add a virtual instrument track and select guitars, acoustic guitar for the instrument. I'm going to compose an 8-bar sequence, so I right-click on the track and select Create Region to make a MIDI clip. Then I drag it out to 8 bars using the handle at the bottom right-hand corner. I then double-click the clip to bring up the MIDI editor. This part plays a D sharp minor 11, a D sharp minor 7, a C sharp major 6, and a B major 7. I'd like this part to have a natural sounding reverb, so I open up the effects panel and add a reverb, studio reverb effect, setting the size and mix to 3.5. I want to layer this piano, so I add another virtual instrument track, and this time use the default grand piano sound. I use the same chords as I did with the guitar part, but there's a slight difference on the second chord. Instead of a D sharp minor 7 for the second chord, I use a D sharp minor 11 with no fifth. This just means that the A sharp is moved down to G sharp. I want the piano to sound smoother and also sit back in the mix a little, so the guitar is the more prominent element. I also add a tone multifilter effect and set its frequency knob to 800 Hz, which smooths out the top end. Then I add a reverb, studio reverb, and turn the size down to 3.7. This gives the piano a more atmospheric feel. Here's how it sounds with the guitar. Now it's time to add a beat. On a new instrument track, I select drums, drum pads, trap kit. I put claps on the third beat of the first 2 bars, with kicks on the first beat of the first bar and the second beat of the second bar. Then I add closed hats in a 2-on, 1-off arrangement until the second clap. I duplicate the 2-bar sequence, which you can do by holding Option on Mac or Alt on Windows and dragging it over. I then add another kick after the final clap. I also want to add a snare, but I want it to be relatively subtle. I'm going to add it to its own track so I can control its volume level independently of the other drum sounds without having to adjust the velocity level of each hit. I add another virtual instrument track, and this time select drums, drum pads, 808 kit. I add a snare between the first and second beats of each bar. Before we add a bass line, let's balance the levels of the tracks we've already added. I turn all the tracks down to -3 dB, apart from the snare track, which I take down to -4.5 dB. We need a bass line, and for this, I want a big and beefy 808 bass, so I select Basses, Synth Basses, 808 Saturated Bass. This plays a D sharp, F sharp, C sharp, B, with a high C sharp, G sharp, A sharp motif at the end to spice things up a little. I turn this track down to -3 dB. I want the bass to have a consistent volume level, so I add a Dynamics BL1176 effect. I feel like the pitched 808 is interfering with the low end of the 808 kick from the 808 kit. On the 808 kit track, I add a multi-filter, set its mode to high pass so that it cuts out the low end, and set the frequency to around 100 Hz. This helps the track's low end sound cleaner. The track could benefit from some more atmosphere, so I decide to look for an abstract vocal in BandLab's sample library. I click the Samples button, select the Loops tab, and set the search filters to Voice for the instrument type and Hip Hop Trap for the genre type. I like this rich rap trap Vox and Effects 4 loop, so I'll drag it into the project. Then I use the loop handle to make it play for the whole 8-bar sequence. I feel it's a little high-pitched, so I open the editor and tune its pitch shift down to -7. This sounds cool, but the sample is very quiet, so I need to boost its volume level. In the effects section, I add a Dynamics BL1176, turning its output up to +4.5 dB. I'd also like the vocal to feel floatier, so I add a studio reverb. I set its mix to 3.5 and its size to 3.5. I also want this vocal to be smoothed out to make room for any rap vocals that might be added over the top, so I add a multi-filter and set its frequency to about 750 Hz. Those are all the major elements, but I also want an effect to transition between sections, and I'd like that effect to be a reverse crash cymbal. So in BandLab's sample library, I clear the instrument and genre filters and enter reverse crash into the search field. Magic Time Reverse Crash has the right vibe, so I drag it into the project. There's some unwanted audio at the start of the sound, so I use the handle at the bottom left-hand corner of the clip to truncate it. I also want an unreversed version of the crash, so I duplicate it, again holding Option on Mac or Alt on Windows. I bring up the editor on the new audio clip and click the reverse button. I then use the handles to adjust the clip so it starts with the crash and ends when the crash is finished. I then move the new audio clip to the end of the original version, creating a build-up and impact effect. I want to smooth this sound out a little too, so I add a multi-filter and set the frequency to around 3 kHz. I also add a studio reverb and set its size to 3.5. Finally, I set the track level to -3 dB. For the arrangement, I start with just the guitar and vocal. In the next section, I add the piano and drums. The reverse crash leads into the drop, where the bass kicks in. The vocal takes a break here, but returns in the next section. The drums, apart from the hats, and the vocals drop out here to create a pseudo breakdown before everything kicks back in. The drums and bass drop out completely here for an actual breakdown. After this, the arrangement repeats from bar 17. Remember, you can fork this project and make your own version of it using the link in the video description. Have fun!